So, is death something to be feared? I posted a video about death a few days back, during the course of which I said that I didn't fear death. In a comment, someone said they didn't believe me when I said that. Fair enough. I replied that I didn't look forward to the process of dying, but that death itself didn't frighten me. But the comment got me thinking again. Is it true that I don't fear death, or am I kidding myself? So I tried in my imagination to see myself faced with death. What did I feel? Well, I certainly fear some things. For example, when placed in a public situation, I fear making a fool of myself. At one of the trivia nights that I go to on Monday nights, there's a jackpot round, and one of the teams has the opportunity to select one of its members to answer 10 questions in a minute and win some money. It jackpots each week, so it can build up. Our team usually selects me for the opportunity or perhaps punishment, and I did actually win $1,500 once for the team. Generally, I do okay most times, but sometimes it's just as bad as I was afraid it was going to be. And every time it comes up, I still dread it. Indeed, when I think about going to trivia each Monday, I feel fear in the pit of my stomach at the thought that I might have to do it again. Nevertheless, I face my fear, but it still doesn't get any easier. So, in my imagination, I have no trouble at all evoking that fear when I think of facing that challenge. No trouble at all. There it is. Even as I speak now, there's a knot in my stomach as I relive that experience in my imagination. But when I think of death, when I put myself back in a room with a dying patient at the time when I was working as a hospital chaplain, when I envisage myself dying, I try to feel fear, but it just isn't there. When I think of another cyclone coming through here, as it might in the next week or so, do I fear death? No, I don't. I fear being without power, perhaps having to deal with damage in the aftermath of the cyclone, having to deal with difficult circumstances. And it's precisely because I have to deal with that I fear it. Death, on the other hand? No, because it's not something I actually have to deal with. Dying, yes. Now, as I said, I don't look forward to the process of dying because it's something that I will have to deal with, I will have to work through, an unpleasantness most likely. But death is not something I actually have to deal with. It's simply the end of experience. No more dealing. As Annie Lennox once sang, dying is easy. It's living that scares me to death. Unfortunately, dying, unlike my ordeal of answering 10 questions in a minute, is something I only have to deal with once. So, what do I feel when I try to envisage that moment in my imagination? What do I feel about the end of experience? It's not fear, it's more like disappointment. I'll never taste Lindt dark chocolate with a pinch of salt again. I won't be able to listen to music anymore. I won't get to read that book that's been on my to read list for months now. I'm disappointed that I'll never get to New York. I'm disappointed that I'll miss the first Mars landing. Yes, disappointed, certainly. Regret, probably. Regret about the things I did, the things I didn't do, the things I didn't do well. And yes, sorrow that I'll never see my family and my friends again. But not fear. It just isn't there. Fear just feels wrong somehow. If, against all odds, it should turn out that consciousness continues in some way after death, then death is not death at all. At least, it's not the end of experience. I wonder, is that what people actually fear when they talk about fearing death? That it isn't the end of experience? Is religion responsible for that, for the fear of death? I may, I suppose, fear the potentially bad experiences just as I fear potentially bad experiences now. There's something to be dealt with. So, no, I don't fear death. Somehow it just doesn't seem like the appropriate emotion. Death is the end of experience, probably. That's not something to fear, though it might be something to be sad about.